let's get to this press conference that was held at a subway station in the People's Republic of New York City that, by the way, Kathy Hochul was late in attending. I guess she was caught in traffic or something. But let's see what she actually said here. And frankly, it's unhinged, in my opinion. Take a look.
1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we are not. We sure as hell are not going to start now.
And by the way, for all of you out there thinking that this is actually real support for Kathy Hochul, all the whooping and hollering and applause, understand that when you have these impromptu press conferences that are really just rallies at the end of the day, they stock the crowd with people that support Kathy Hochul. You know how I know that? Because it was once upon a time the job of myself and Ross and others that we know to make sure that we got people to these sort of things in order to support the message that was going to be going out.
Yeah. We call it AstroTurf.
But Gene, this is even more horrific. This was not labeled a rally. This was labeled a press conference. So theoretically, the way I took it was those were New York members of the media applauding and cheering for Democrat Kathy Hochul. That's the way I took it, right? You're not supposed to stack the deck with your supporters at a press conference. If this was a rally or a speech, I get it, right? But you're in a public facility holding a press conference.
Well, I guess she wants people to think that, all these strap hangers just happened to be there and they happened to gather around and they happened to listen to Kathy Hochul immediately say this and they were just so happy with Kathy Hochul. It's AstroTurf.
Yeah, and by the way, Gene, I find it rich that she's poking Trump for using the word king. When meanwhile, this lady was Queen Vaccine that was talking to the gods, telling us to take vaccines and mandating them, right? Talk about royalty and we don't labor under a king. She took her and her predecessor, Andrew Cuomo, took dictatorial-like powers while COVID was going on.
Absolutely. By the way, if you're tuning in, you like what you're hearing, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you're really liking what you're seeing, tell a friend, get them on here on the live chat, or share the show with them. Let them know you want to support Buffoon of the Week Behind Enemy Lines. Let's get back to it.
Streets of the city where battles were fought. We stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will, in case you don't know, New Yorkers, we're in a fight. We do not back down, not now, not ever.
This is a typical press conference, I guess, with people cheering. This does not sound like a press conference at all. It's a rally.
Can I tell you what this sounds like to me, Gene?
What does it sound like to you?
This sounds a little insurrection-y to me.
You know what? It might sound a little insurrection-y, but they're not in D.C. and they're not marching on the Capitol. They're standing in a subway station. But look at all these people. Pal, can you just take a look at the crowd here and tell me what you notice?
It's a bunch of uppity white libs.
The whiteness.
Oh, I thought it was just me noticing that.
Oh, no, it's not just you.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that affirmation there, pal. Let's get back to it.
Because who are we fighting for here? We're fighting for our residents, our commuters, our riders, our drivers, our emergency personnel. Life has gotten better for even those who have asthma, people with illness. That's who we're fighting for.
Nah, bitch, you fighting for money. That's what you're fighting for. You're fighting for every single dollar that you want to bilk out of every New Yorker, out of everyone from Long Island, out of everyone from upstate, out of everyone from New Jersey, out of everyone from Connecticut, who dare to cross an imaginary line on your island. That's what you're fighting for here. This is a crowd of people that is cheering on the implementation of a tax.
Yeah. And Gene, explain to me how she's fighting for drivers, right? she's not fighting for drivers. And by the way, this asthma BS that they always talk about, right? First of all, it's arguable whether or not congestion causes asthma. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. But okay, put that aside, right? I won't be a science denier for this show. Let's stipulate that it's true.
Just one time, you're not going to be a science denier. Just one time. I appreciate
it. But where do the cars go? This plan, and this is admitted by the government in New York, this plan pushes cars into the outer boroughs as opposed to the congestion zone in Manhattan. The outer boroughs are where all the minorities live, or most of the minorities live.
Where the real poors are.
Where the real poor people are and the real asthma rates are due to environmental injustice, according to the left. Right? So she's not making it better. She's making it worse for the very same people she claims to be helping right now.
And the 6 million people who use the MTA to get to their jobs and their lives and their doctor appointment, nurses, doctors, EMTs, all the people who need to get to their jobs in a reliable way, they're now going to be affected.
She's playing right into Sean Duffy's hands, by the way. We're doing our thing again. We're taking a short clip, making it an hour long. But she's playing into Duffy's hands. That statement right there tells you that this congestion pricing zone, this cordon tolling, is not for dealing with congestion. It's for paying for the MTA. Back to the clip.
So I also have to raise a question. As they look at the pretext for this rejection, and we have a lot of legal reasons why we know we're going to be victorious, but they actually cited the will of New Jersey.
I hate New Jersey.
New Jersey didn't want this. Ignoring the will, the people who live here, they're elected leaders in Albany, and all of a sudden, the Trump administration is citing, well, New Jersey wasn't happy, okay? I will talk about that later.
And I have that clip as well, but yeah, that's called interstate commerce. That's the basis by which you had to get permission from the federal government to do this sort of cordon tolling through the Federal Highway Administration, through their pilot program, through that VPPP thing. Yeah, people in New Jersey have to be considered in this because the federal government has to grant you permission to do this. You freaking moron.
Language.
And Gene, how is the sky falling for getting rid of something that has existed for all of 5 minutes? Right? This thing has been in effect for a few weeks now. She's acting like this was some long-established program where, the Trump administration cut it. It's been in effect for a couple of weeks, as far as I know.
Yeah, about a month or so. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what?
And now EMTs are not going to be able to get to work. How are they getting to work over a month ago?
That's right. By the way, we're going to take a look at the complaint that was filed. I have that as well if you want to get into some of the legalese of it. We can talk about some of the law stuff. Not get too deep, but we'll get into it.
But here's what I want to also say. I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington. And this is... We are
sovereignty from Washington who granted us permission to do this. She thinks everybody's a fucking moron. Or is she the moron?
Well, since when do Democrats believe in the 10th Amendment? Like, now she believes in states' rights, but when they're pushing DEI and all this other crap, abortion rules, then they don't believe in states' rights, right? Only states' rights when it's something the Democrats want.
Oh, okay. Well, you are a staunch 10th Amendment guy. Is this a 10th Amendment issue?
I don't believe so because of what you cited earlier. Interstate Commerce Clause. That is I'm a big constitutional guy, right? The 10th Amendment only says whatever power it was not granted to Congress, basically under Article 1, Section 8, then it's reserved to the states. In this case, the ability to regulate interstate commerce is a Article 1 clause. It belongs to Congress, the federal government, not the states. You can't do things that affect interstate commerce without permission from the federal government.
And thanks to the Supreme Court, interstate commerce basically means whatever the federal government says it means. Everything and anything is a part of interstate commerce.
which I hate that, right? Like it's a very broad Supreme Court view of this, that like school-free gun zones were like justified under interstate commerce for a long time. I think that's BS, right? But this clearly does. If you live in New Jersey and have to go into New York to work, now it's impossible. There is no free option for certain people that are traveling through Lower Manhattan.
Oh, Kathy Hochul talks about New Jersey at length later on as well. But I want to get through this clip because then there's a couple of other small ones we got to get to.
We are a nation of states. This is what we fought for. This is what people like Alexander Hamilton and others fought for, to set up a system.
I'm sorry. I got to keep stopping. I think she only knows about Hamilton because there was a musical.
100%.
I think that the idea that we are a nation of states is the funniest thing coming from a Democrat, because I don't think that any of them believe in federalism. I think they just believe that the federal government should run everything unless you are holding an office somewhere else, in which case you should be running everything from that office. The hypocrisy is just, it's got me hot. It's got me angry. I'm going to start cursing.
Rich white male slave owners. Like what? All of a sudden now they're going to start quoting the founding? Come on.
We are not subservient to a king or anyone else out of Washington. So this is the fight we're in. It's all about our sovereignty. And I spoke.
By the way, sovereignty will be a t-shirt up on shop.buffoonoftheweek.com probably by Friday. That's right, gang. Be on the lookout for our limited edition Sovereignty line at shop.buffoonoftheweek.com.
This guy is a grifter.
We're going to create a sovereignty.
Sovereignty.
It's going to be a picture of Kathy Hochul saying sovereignty.
I mean, that was like, that just shows you she's not very familiar with the word, period.
Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show.
Spoke to the president many times in a reasonable way, calm way. You're a New Yorker. You know how essential it is to have safe, reliable public transit, or else this system shuts down. Our economy shuts down. The nation's economy could shut down. That's how essential we are. And one would think he would know that.
Now wait just a goddamn minute.
It's the same state that tried to put him in jail. It's the same state that tried to trump up 34 charges that you said earlier are going to be most likely overturned. I agree with that legal opinion as well. And you did nothing about it. So now you're going to come crying to him now that he's president of the United States and appeal to him as a New Yorker? Where were you when New York was basically creating a lynch mob daily outside Manhattan Criminal Court to try to get Donald Trump, who knows why? I'm not going to say the word on YouTube or social media, but you know the word I'm thinking of. I'm sorry, you're actually going to go down this line? Talk about the height of hypocrisy.
Yeah, and Jean, she talks about the necessity for safe and reliable public transportation. First of all, half the people riding the buses and trains don't even pay. They just jump the turnstile or go on the bus and nothing happens to them, right? But bitch, you're in charge. You need to create safe and reliable public transportation. When Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York, he had safe and reliable subways. He didn't have congestion pricing to do it. He utilized his powers as mayor to make the NYPD patrol the subways and lock up criminals and fare beaters, right? The quality of life crimes, the broken windows theory, right? She's going to solve these problems by throwing more money out of it. And whose money is she throwing out of it? She's taking out of your pockets. $9 every time you go to Manhattan. This is insanity.
It's absolute insanity. And you know what the problem is, pal? She's run out of pockets to pick in New York. So she's got to pick other people's pockets now at this point. And she needs to keep the federal government gravy train coming. And with Trump being there now, it's not likely to keep going the way that she wants to.
And then you have others involved. I mean, it feels like the commuters of our city and our region are now the roadkill on Donald Trump's revenge tour against New York. And I have to say this to Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. It's not the real world, Sean. It's real life for New Yorkers, and don't you forget that.
So we're going to end it here, but you get what she's doing. She's a lot of talking to Badge right now. She doesn't really have, she doesn't have the intelligence to bring out the legal arguments. And her lawyer that was there with him, with this crowd, didn't want to talk about it in front of the crowd because it can get hyper technical. But all she has is lines about kings and Sean Duffy, who was on a reality TV show, and his wife was also on a reality TV show as well on MTV. That's what she's got. The outrage of people and no real substance whatsoever. If you like that clip from our new show, Behind Enemy Lines, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other shows, and tune in live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.